Hey everybody, this is Jason Creel, and today we're talking about lawn mowers. I want to talk about standing mowers versus walk behind mowers versus ride on mowers. Give you some thoughts, some things to consider, show you a couple mowers, and hopefully help you as you think through what kind of mowers you want for either your home or for your business. Let's get started right now. All right, one of the coolest things about being in the lawn care business, or for a homeowner that just wants a cool lawnmower, is having a nice lawnmower, having the excuse to go buy cool toys and things like that. So this is an Exmark Staris stand-on mower, and this is a Toro 2000 HDX mower that you sit on, a rider, if you will. I don't have a walk-behind mower to show you, but some people, there might be some general confusion. When I say walk-behind mowers, typically the ones that have a sulky or a Velky on the back of it that you ride on, and so we're going to talk about those briefly as well. Now, one of the things you'll get when you get to people talking about mowers is like talking about much of anything. Like I feel like you hear people and they talk about who's the greatest golfer all time. Is it Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus? Or who's the greatest basketball player? Is it Michael Jordan or LeBron James or whoever else? And you have some people that can acknowledge greatness on both levels, and you have some that say, no, it has to be this way, 100% right, and you're an idiot if you think otherwise. Well, sometimes you get that with lawnmowers. People start talking about, and I've had, I get comments and talk to a lot of people about lawn equipment. And sometimes when you say, hey, I kind of prefer this brand over this brand, or I prefer a rider over a stander, or a stander over a rider, and you'll have some people like, okay, I see that, and then some people's like, no, it has to be this. This is the way to go. So let me just share with you my thoughts on it and give you something to think about. We'll start with the walk-behind mower, the one I don't have pictured. Most of the time, and I've said this before, what amazes me sometimes is big lawn care companies that I know make millions of dollars in revenue and can afford whatever lawn equipment they want. Oftentimes they'll have a box truck or a Zuzu with a landscape bed on it, and all they will have, literally, as far as mowers go, is a walk-behind mower. I mean, a no-push mower is like a 42-inch walk-behind mower, and that's it, or 48-inch or whatever. And I say, you know what? They might know something I don't know. I don't want to do that necessarily, but I think there is something for being said of the absolute versatility and cost efficiency of a walk-behind mower. Definitely great on hills. Definitely good if you got just spaces that are a little bit harder to get into. You got to get up on an island or something, or in some backyards, and they're big enough for a walk behind, and you think, well, I wouldn't want to push them if I can get the walk behind back there, or maybe not big enough to get a mower like this back there. So definitely some uses for the walk behind, and still, to my understanding, the best obvious choice when you're talking about dealing with hilly property. Of course, you want to be safe on them in that situation, but they're going to hold hills better than these two particular mowers that I'm showing you today. All right, with that being said, I get people ask my opinions on lawnmowers oftentimes, and one of the first questions I want to ask is, hey, what's your budget? Okay, because if I know you got $12,000 to spend, or you got $2,000 to spend, then it's going to help me be able to provide better advice. But let's just say, for example's sake, somebody says I've got $5,000 to spend. Well, for $5,000, you can go get a kind of a higher-end residential model zero turn, or you can get a used commercial grade zero turn mower, whether a stander or ride on, whatever you want to get. You can find them gently used, especially in the winter time, one that's been kept up well, has low hours. Sometimes I push people to go buy that used one if it has low hours. Now, I'm personally not a Mr. Fix-It kind of guy. I don't want to go buy something that's got 1,500 hours on it. Not that it wouldn't work. Maybe the engine's been replaced, but I want something that I know is newer and has less abuse on it. But why would I encourage somebody to do that instead of go get like a high-end residential model? Well, some of that, again, is going to depend on the personality of the buyer. Some people want that full warranty and they want to buy that, and it's just for their own yard or maybe a small lawn business. I understand that. I'm not going to argue with them. If you want to buy the high-end residential one, then go get that. I don't personally recommend the lower bottom of the barrel zero turns if you can afford differently. Again, that may be different if you use a homeowner, but I'm talking about more for business standpoint. So what's my point of buying a commercial grade mower, even if you had to get one that's gently used? Well, to me, it's all about the performance of the piece of machinery. So if I'm doing this for a business, I want something bigger, faster, more powerful, and ultimately gonna make me more money. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Did it cost a little bit more, or did I have to get one that was gently used? Fine, then that's fine. But ultimately, is it gonna generate more revenue for my business? That's really the main thing I'm looking for. And then the performance, to me, yeah, they may have bigger tires, they may have, you know, bigger engine, things like that. But also, oftentimes on the commercial grade mowers, without knowing all the mechanical stuff, they just seem to have a stronger hydraulic system. So when I am going downhill and I need to stop, or when I'm going sideways on a hill and I need to turn, there's things that it just performs better, and I think that's important. So I think the hydraulic systems and how powerful it is and how well I'm able to maneuver it in less than ideal conditions. You know, if every yard looked like a perfectly flat 5,000 square foot yard with no trees, then it doesn't matter as much. But they don't all look like that in my area. So I want something that I can handle better. So with that being said, to my understanding, the stand-on mowers obviously have everybody, all the lawnmower companies just about have gotten into the standard market, and they have greatly improved. And I think one way they have improved, and I keep referencing this, is on hills, because I deal with hills in my area. We just have hills, so that's a big deal to me. At the same time, the ride-on mowers, again, if you get a full-fledged commercial grade mower, they also perform well on hills. Again, neither one up to the level of probably a walk-behind mower, but they are very, they do as good on hills as I need them to do. Okay, anything that was more hilly than I feel comfortable on is just not safe. Okay, and they will perform on any hill that I feel comfortable on. And I'm not, again, you want to make sure you follow your safety procedures and owner's manuals, but I can't have one that won't turn and won't handle, at least a little bit of a hill. And both of these will do that no problem at all. All right, so what is the big deal about the standards? Because they seem like they're definitely increasing in market share. Well, ultimately, you're not going to like save a lot of money on getting a standard versus getting a ride-on mower. So it's not like, unless some company's just breaking in that market and they may give a deal for a little while, but it's basically a very similar engine and setup. The deck is probably very similar, if not identical, but you see it's just definitely a more compact unit. So when you have a compact unit, what's the advantage of that? Well, you think about fitting in tight spaces on a property, you think about being able to fit on a trailer, and that can be a big deal. I know when I used to have a zero-turn mower and I had a walker mower, that bagged, and I would have to flip up the deck on the walker sometimes to fit two mowers on a 12-foot trailer. Well, if you got two of these, they'll fit on a 12-foot trailer because it's just a shorter frame. And there's an advantage to that. I mean, that's great. Some people, and this is where I think personal preference come in, some people say that, hey, standing on this on long periods of time throughout the day is just more comfortable for me. I've had other people say, no, I want to sit down. Why would I stand up when I can sit down? So I'm not going to get in that argument. I find the standards are comfortable. I get their point. It makes sense. If you're not used to one, you think, well, standing all day, that's not going to be comfortable. But if you actually tried it, it is, my yard that I'm mowing here is several acres, and I can, cut it all day, and it's no big deal. The other advantage is just being able to hop on and off of it quickly. So, you're in a seat and you got to get up, and that's, that takes a little bit more time and effort than when you're standing and you hop off. So whether that means you got to pick up something out of the yard, you got to open a gate, whatever needs to be done, it's quick access to hop on and off of these things. Now I'll say this, for me, having owned, probably a dozen riding zero-turn mowers, maybe more, when I got a standard mower, it was an adjustment just for the feel of it. But that really, if you know how to drive a zero-turn mower, it did not take long at all before it became second nature to me as well. Now, what about the stand-on mowers? Again, I think it's a misconception to think that, oh, they're not gonna do well on a hill. To me, yeah, if you, the good ones will. I'll just put it that way. A good zero-turn mower that you ride on will also perform well on a hill. And you say, why is that important? Well, I mean, if you're in a situation where it's kind of sloped down to a pond and you're starting to slide, I mean, again, you just need a good hydraulic system. I don't know how else to describe it. From a comfort level, a lot of that, you know, I understand some people want to stand up. For people that want to sit down, like this one has this suspension system on it, so that makes a huge difference. And I'll just be honest with you, I've had some yards that were real bumpy and a mower that didn't have any kind of suspension on it, and it does kind of jar you over time. And I think just sitting down over time, but when I have this suspension system on this particular mower, it definitely is a more comfortable ride. And I think in general, zero-turn mower manufacturers are going out of their way to make more comfortable seats with better suspension system, and it's really making a difference, and it's worth, you know, I think that's great, because if it's something you're going to spend 2,000 hours on potentially, you want to have a nice seat. I think one mistake people make sometimes when they go buy a zero-turn mower is getting a big deck on the mower, like let's say a 60-inch deck with an undersized motor. So, and that may depend again on what type of grass you're cutting, but you know, as far as zoysia grass and Bermuda grass that I deal with here in Alabama gets nice and thick in the summertime, and you have an undersized deck and you try to put a mulch kit on it, you're going to really struggle, because it's going to be again bogging down. So you may consider not using a mulch deck, or maybe consider putting like a grass flap kind of chute on there, chute block kind of deal that can be opened to side discharge or closed to help mulch it. Because if you get in that really thick grass, now if you're keeping it mowed really frequently every 4 or 5 days, then it's not going to be as big of an issue. But sometimes again, based on a business and being your performance and your money and your efficiency, having a right size engine so that you're not underpowered for the size mower is very important. All right, as far as brands go, there's a lot of good zero-turn mower manufacturers. This is a Toro, this is an Exmark. I've personally owned Gravely, I've owned Hustler, I've owned Skag, I've owned Walker. I've probably owned more that I, be honest, have forgotten about. But I would recommend any of those brands. They're all great. So it's not like there's just one brand. And am I saying that all zero-turn mowers are great? No, I'm not. But those in particular, I think, are reputable brands. Toro, Exmark, Skag, Gravely, Hustler. I like all those brands. So it may come down to, you know, what kind of dealer support can I get? Am I close to a dealer? Again, that's going to be even more important if you're not able to do repairs yourself and you want it constantly serviced by a dealer. But just being able to get access to parts, that can be important. So, you know, if your dealer support is not very good, then you may want to think twice about going with a particular brand and find one that you can get better dealer support. For what it's worth, I think the zero-turn mower manufacturing companies, and don't get me wrong, there'd be some I would definitely stay away from, but there's some reputable brands out there. I think it's amazing how they build the equipment to hold up to some of the abuse that you mowing guys put your mowers through, and the lack of maintenance, lack of attention, and just, you know, what they put them through. And I'll be honest, I've done it myself as well. I've put run over stuff I probably shouldn't have run over, and these things take a beating and keep on going. So it's really great. It's amazing what the zero-turn mower manufacturing market has done for our industry, and how much efficient and more powerful these machines are, and even the luxury things that come on them nowadays. You know, this one has got LED lights on the front, and even got a place over here where you USB port if you need to charge your cell phone. So that's pretty cool. And of course, they got cup holders just in case you need a drink. I definitely recommend a drink with a lid on it so it doesn't end up getting a lot of dust in your mouth. At the end of the day, there's a number of factors. It comes down to personal preference. Don't let somebody bully you into one brand over another brand, or one mower over another brand who's saying that, no, definitely the standards are the most comfortable. No, definitely the riding mowers are most comfortable. A lot of it really is personal preference, but what I'm thankful for is that we've got some great choices, some great mowers to choose from, like the ones I've showed you today, that perform well and can help you make more money or help you care for your own property. I appreciate you watching the video. Let me hear from you in the comments. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. and subscribe to the channel if you hadn't done so. If you're thinking about starting a lawn business, or maybe you're already in it and you're struggling, go over to lawncarelife.com. There's a lot of resources available for you there, both for mowing and also for weed control and fertilization. I've got experience in both sides of the business. I'm Jason Creel. Talk to you guys later. Bye.